Hi, I'm Ashley Warren. This video is for Counseling 6323, Dr. Andrews, Houston Baptist University. And this particular assignment is the video response 1, the stages of disaster. The first question is a blow to the basic tissues of social life that damage the bonds attaching people together and impairs the prevailing sense of community. Describe how you might interpret this for someone who just went through a disaster. The way I would interpret this is just interpreting the collective trauma in the context of their situation, and how it would involve them understanding the impact of the event on the fabric of their social environment and their community. And in the aftermath of a disaster, people experience a wide range of emotional, psychological, and social changes. um, the event can even disturb their trust that they have with people in the community, and disrupt and establish their daily norms and routines. And it can lead to isolation and even loss of identity and self. And understanding this can help us recognize that the challenges that the victims and that the others are facing after disaster are not solely individual struggles, but the result of damage inflicted on the community as a whole. It emphasizes the importance of rebuilding social connections, fostering a sense of belonging, and finding ways to heal and recover. At times, it's essential to seek support from those who have gone through similar experiences and struggles. And I would just also interpret this by just saying that the people lost everything that bound them together: home, school, communities, churches, jobs, pets, friends, the eating places, the workplace. Some of their friends never came home, especially in the St. Bernard community. All of the houses were destroyed except for 5. And they had to form new communities. And people lost everything, all their memories of life, all their pictures, the church they grew up in, the church they were baptized in, the church that they got married in. And so that's how I would interpret a blow to the basic tissues of social life. Um, and the next question is, what kind of impact may the stress of going through a disaster have on a person's mental well-being? Um, it could be PTSD, it could be post-traumatic stress, which is where the victims experience a traumatic event, and they could have flashbacks or intrusive memories, nightmares, hypervigilance, did I say heightened anxiety, acute stress reaction. It's also a potential effect of someone's well-being, um, which can include feelings of shock and disbelief, confusion, emotional numbness, depression, because they lost homes, possessions, livelihoods. And it contributes to a sense of hopelessness and sadness, social isolation, or loneliness. It can disrupt networks of people's communities and jobs, and separation from loved ones and displacements. The increased stress levels are overall very normal, because they have financial concerns, housing concerns. Where am I gonna go? Where am I gonna where am I gonna work? How am I gonna get money? What about my children? Where will I sleep? Do I have money for hotel? And a lot of people didn't have money to leave, and that also was a part of the financial hardship that was impacted on the people of lower income societies in the Hurricane Katrina. Um, Also, it's just important to note that individuals respond to disasters differently, and not everyone will experience depression and anxiety and PTSD, but those are significant impacts of a person's well-being that can be an outcome of natural disasters and traumatic crisis events. Question number 3: the recovery process has a number of stages. What are the stages, and how and when is a counselor needed throughout a person's recovery? The stages are pre-disaster, disaster, the heroic phase, the honeymoon phase, the disillusionment phase, and then the reconstruction phase. And a counselor may be needed in the pre-disaster phase, just by preparedness and resilience building. The counselors play a role in the community to educate and have members of the community prepared for crisis and disasters. And so in this stage, they could just help everyone be prepared for things like these, even though you could never be prepared for such a large disaster such as Katrina. But and just developing plans and strategies to have the community prepared for things like this. In the disaster phase, the counselors can help with crisis intervention or psychological first aid, which means during the immediate aftermath, the crisis team and healthcare and non-health care clinicians can provide crisis interventions and psychological first aid to help offer emotional support. They can manage acute distress. They can assess people's mental state and just be able to facilitate access to the resources that are needed. In the heroic phase, emotional support is very important in coping strategies. The counselor can assist in identifying and addressing and emerging mental health concerns, because in this phase, individuals victims may exhibit symptoms such as a sense of unity or a collective resilience. The counselors can provide emotional support, and they can validate people's experiences and be helpful people on the front line and in the communities. In the honeymoon phase, victims can experience a reality of temporary relief from the initial impact of the disasters, and counselors can engage in psychoeducation, which provides information on stress reactions, and they can help those victims promote self-care practices, which is needed to get people back to a sense of self, such as exercising, eating healthy, meditating, spirituality. They had a lot of Christians come out and help, which also this turned a lot of people to Christ after the disaster, because there was a lot of Christians that came to help. They can just help offer strategies to help maintain and upkeep resilience for victims. In the disillusionment phase, people face the reality of losses and ongoing challenges, and they face a lot of emotional difficulties. And the counselors can support the individuals by processing trauma related experiences and addressing unresolved grief, and just helping them navigate through the complex emotions of a natural disaster, which is a horrible crisis that these people had undergone. But a technique that a counselor that might aid in that situation would be a cognitive based therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, or a trauma focused therapy. And the last phase is the reconstruction phase. In this phase, the counselor can, in this phase, people are healing, and they're at the last phase, and they're getting through the bad part, and they're working towards rebuilding their lives, their communities, their families, their daily living. And the counselor could help support them, and just being there to keep them going on the right path with their mental health needs and their emotional needs, and just making sure that they're keeping a good hope and mental health, and help them set goals, and just supply resources, and just navigate the challenges to, like I said, housing and employment, and family dynamics. And yes, the resources that I used today were from the Miller book, the Christian Formation. I'm sorry, not Christian Formation. Fundamentals of Crisis Counseling. And thank you.